Hello there. In this video we're going to put together the folio album. It's the same process whether you've ordered the kits from us, the folio album kit with the 2-inch spine or the 1¼ inch spine. So to start off with, we need 2 large pieces of card and the centre section, and I've put tape down either side of the long edge on that centre section. And I've put tape on my 2 boards. They come with a rounded corner, or if you're cutting them yourselves round the corners, they look nice. And I'm just going to put some tape down the middle of the spine piece as well. And now we're ready to stick everything together. So the first thing to do is to take that backing tape off those 2 strips either side of the centre section of your card, and place the larger pieces just over the width of the tape and stick down. And try and get them as central as you can, like that. And then decide, the joins are going to be covered, one on the front, and then we'll put something up against the one on the back. So I'm just going to flip my piece over so that I've got the top section, the seams facing me, and then I'm going to take the spine and stick that centrally on that centre section of card. So do that with yours, either sticking it down with tape or glue. Uh-oh, can never get it off. Although I'm pretty good at peeling it without a knife. So centre it as near as you can. You don't need to measure it because all of the edges are going to be folded over, but centre it between the top and bottom and side seams. And then take your tape and put a strip of tape either side of the long edges of your spine. I like to leave the backing of the tape on just to give the book a little bit of extra strength, and the sticky on the other side helps to stop the cover of the binder splitting. And then either use a shim, which is offcuts of chipboard, 2 stuck together of the width that you're using to create your cover, or put both of your album covers together and butt them up next to the spine, and take a pen and just mark yourself a guideline, and that's where you're going to stick the cover pieces down. So the gap needs to be double the width of the covers that you're using, or the width of the chipboard that you're using, and then we can stick these down. So take the tape off, take the backing strips off, and follow the line that you've drawn. Try and keep the top and bottom edges of the spine level with the top and bottom edge of your covers as you're sticking them down. I have to get the scissors. It's painful, isn't it? I'll use the scissors, it'll be much quicker. Okay, line piece number 2 up. Put my glasses on, it's so much easier to see. And stick it down. If your gap's too big, then the crease by your spine goes a bit floppy. So keep it so that you have double width of your material. And then take your, we'll trim it actually. You might want to just trim back excess card so that it's just sticking out 1 inch from the edge of your chipboard pieces. So I'm going to use the smallest of scissors to do that. I don't know why, I should have the large ones. And I'm going to just curve the corner to follow the line of the curve on the chipboard. Not exactly, but it just gets rid of some of the bulk. So around we go. And let's do that one. Like that. And then I'm going to take my tape and I'm going to start at the one side and run it all the way along the edge. And I'm going to sort of bring it round the corner and just sort of squash it so that it curves around the corner. Let's turn around. And along like that. To the end, and then just rip it where it joins and press it down, and then take the backing tape off. And then you should be able to take this off in one strip, as long as it doesn't rip. So just carefully lift it around the corner. Like that. And then take your scissors and for each corner cut in a straight and two corners going round the diagonal. So let's do this one here. So cut it straight, two right up to the curve of the chipboard, and then a straight. So do that on all four corners. Straight, two curves and straight. And then you're cutting through the tape as well as through the card. And then I like to take the outside piece, two outside pieces first, fold them over and then fold the middle one over, and then use the back of my scissors just to sort of smooth the corner, smooth the card around the corner, just to get rid of any of the little grooves that you get. So do that on all of your corners. So the outside piece, the outside piece, and then the corner piece, and just squash. If you roll your scissors around the corner, it just flattens the card. So outside, outside, and then the corner. Outside, outside, and the corner. And just squash them down, smooth them around. And then use your surface just to lift up your album and press down, so press the edge of the chipboard down onto your work surface. That starts the crease going, and then turn it over and do the other side. I like to start on the long sides first, and then start just pinching the card over the edge of the chipboard and smooth it down, and go one way first, so from the middle to the edge, and then the other way, all the way along, and then turn over and do the same on the other side. So press down in the middle, work along one way and then the other, and then you get a nice crease all the way along. And then do the same for your short ends. Now if your cut here isn't straight. You can trim it off if you want to, and then just pull it over. I'm just going to trim that one slightly. Stick it out, and then turn round and do the same on the other short edge. So use the work surface just to start the crease going, and then pull and stick. And then take your ruler and press it into the gap or the gutter between the spine and the cover, and that pushes the card into the gap, and then your binder will fold up really nicely. And then just give it a little jiggle backwards and forwards. It just starts the fibres, or encourages the fibres to curve around those folds. And then I always make sure that I have just my album spine at the back, so I like to just squash along the spine and push the covers forwards. So that's the binder done. And then we want to take our next piece, and this is the piece that's going to cover the spine, and some more double-sided tape. So I've put double-sided tape around all of the sides on this piece, and now I'm just going to put tape down either side of the spine and keeping it just on the chipboard. And then we need to take all of those backings off. Oh, much easier with the scissors. Turn it around to do that one. And then take them off your spine cover. My edges are a little fluffy here, but this will be covered. Just trim this top one, the top one. And then bring your album back in. Now this piece needs to centre between the top and bottom edges, and it's going to be the guide for putting your pages into your album. So when you're happy with where it's sitting, press it down, really get the tape to stick everywhere, and then using your ruler again, push it into the gutter and lift up your album cover. And then I like to turn around and do the same on the other side, like that. And then just jiggle your binder around again so that the fibres start to work their way into, hello Ollie, the gaps. And then you've got a really nicely covered album base. So now we've got the binder finished, we're ready to put the spine together, or spine mounts. So you've got your two pieces. On the back of them both, in the centre section, put strips of double-sided tape, and then starting with the small one, take off that backing strip, turn over the larger one, and centre the small one in between the score lines of the large one. So try and get them as straight as you can. And then you can do that with tacky glue. I normally do use tacky glue, and I've never had an album fall apart, but I have used tape this time. And then take your scissors and just cut away those corners. So just snip off little triangles so that when you put your pages on, you haven't got two layers of card when you look down at the top of your book. And we'll do the bottom as well. Oops. And then take your backing strips off here. To bring your album back in. And this little piece then gets centred between the two gutters either side of your spine, and it sits level with the top and bottom edges of the black card that we've just stuck in. So when you're happy that you've got it sitting in your album nice and straight, press it down, and then we're ready to put our pages on. So to add our pages, I'm going to put, I always add my pages to the front of each of the spine mounts. So I'm going to put double-sided tape on the front of each one of them, just slightly away from where the sticky up bit joins the spine. So this tape is 3/8 of an inch and these scored pieces are 1/2 an inch. So we've got room. It is quite difficult to see, isn't it? Black on black. You could always put a piece of copy paper underneath each spine as you're working, if you're working on black, so that you can see where you're sticking the tape. And then I'm going to start at the back of the album and stick the last page in first, and that will be the guide to stick the other pages in over the top. So you take one of your 6-inch pages and flip the last spine backwards so that you've got the sticky side of the tape upwards, and just position your page where the fold line is, lining up the top and bottom edge. Just gently touch the two together. You don't want to press it down too hard at this stage. Let it fall down onto the back of the book and just check that it's sitting straight between the top and bottom edges. And then when you're happy, press it down. And then just check that it moves without clicking as well. If it clicks, then you've stuck your page in too close to the spine or the fold where the spine mount joins the base. So you need to jiggle it about until it moves without clicking. And then flip spine number 3 backwards. Take your backing tape off. And then let me just show you, 2 pages with the folded sections go in as a pair. So page number 3, you want to have the flap uppermost, and then you're going to stick the long straight edge down on the spine, line up the top and bottom edge, just touch it slightly onto the sticky, just let it fall down and check that it's sitting over the one above or the one beneath, and that they're all lined up. I'm going to take mine off, line it up again, and then when you're happy, check it moves without clicking and then stick it down. And then flick spine number 2 backwards. Take your backing tape off. And this time we're going to stick, you want to have the flap facing you, and we're going to stick the front edge of the larger section underneath to the front of that spine mount, so that the 2 folded pieces, smaller pieces, are facing each other. So again, just line it up over the spine mount. Make sure that it's sitting level with the pages underneath. Just touch it slightly. Make sure that it moves without clicking, and stick it down. And then for the last one, flip your spine number 1 forwards, backwards. Bring the last of your pages, just the single page, up to meet it. Just touch it slightly, make sure that it's sitting nice and straight and that it moves without clicking, and stick it down. And that's it. That is our basic folio album, ready to add all of the pages and papers and extra folds, etc. in. So now we've got that made, follow the instructions and enjoy making your album.